Beautiful souls, do you have a prayer request or want us to send you healing energy today? Would you like us to be praying for you, a friend, or a loved one? If this is you, go to worldslargestprayernetwork.com to submit your prayer requests. And while you're there, please join our team of prayer warriors. Your angels say that prayer not only opens you to miracles, raises your vibration, and helps you heal, but the more you pray, the more God's presence is felt here on earth. Feel your angels' love right here, right now, as they surround you, and be on the lookout for positive, loving messages that are meant specifically for you in today's episode. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the Angels and Awakening podcast. I'm your host and author, Julie Jancius, and today we had an opening. I record all of the angel stories every month, all on one day, and we had a couple of openings today. So Janette so kindly and graciously offered up her time at the last second. She is here with us today to share some amazing angel stories. And you say that this is meant to be, Janette, because you had sent in your angel stories a while ago, but we didn't get to connect. And now there's more to the story.
Yeah, since then, I've actually graduated from your Angel Reiki school, and I'm part of the monthly, the angel membership.
Yes.
So whereas before I was kind of lost of what had happened and not knowing a lot of answers. Since then, now I have answers and have answered my own questions through my angels and my spirit guides and all of that. So it actually worked out better, I feel, because now I can actually share my story and maybe inspire others to reach out and learn from you, just to help heal or help others in their path.
That's amazing. So Janette, I'm going to have you dive in and share your story.
Okay. So my angel story, I guess it's just going to be like my lifetime of angel stories, because I feel like they all kind of work together. And so I'm going to start off with my first memory. And so my first memory of I'm going to call it something different, unusual. I was still a baby, and I could remember just sitting there looking at I could see my little legs, but I remember a vivid memory, and I'm going to say man, but very lightly, because it was a being. I don't know, I never have really understood who that was, but he was wearing all black. And I know black sometimes given it's a bad color, but in that situation, I don't feel in my knower that it was bad. I feel like it was more like someone that's always been there. Does that make any sense?
Oh yeah.
And so as I grew up, I had different experiences in where I would see in in the passing, or I would be running and then I would see, and then I turned back to really look and it was gone. But I always have had that feeling of having someone with me. You know what I mean? And so growing up, I had a lot of things that happened to me that I didn't understand. However, at that point, I had no one to reach out to. It was one of those things where you just didn't talk about. And if you did approach someone in your family about it, it was always a bad juju, that's scary. Don't talk about that. You're just using your imagination. So a lot of it was never knowing, right? And so I'll start off with just a few of my things that happened. When I was little, I think started in kindergarten, during recess, I would see the different kind of halos around the kids, on the top of the kids in my grade. And I would just sit there and look at everybody's halo and compare the colors. And I remember there was a set of twins who had the rainbow, all the colors of the rainbow on their halo. And I just would look for them. You know what I mean? I'd look for them with the halo. And it brought me so much joy and happiness. And I say that because it's going to connect to something else here in the future. And then here's where I lose a lot of people, because I remember telling my mom, I seen some giants, and it was like, well, that's just your imagination, and brush it off. But it wasn't that. Like, I remember like vividly just sitting there and watching them run back and forth. And again, I felt joy and happiness. And as I was growing up, I'd see different kinds of like little energy beings, and so what I have now found out is it brought me joy and happiness because I was going through a lot of trauma as a child at home.
Yeah.
And so now I know that the angels were using that to give me like a process, you know what I mean? Hey, there's something beautiful going on, that even though this is happening, you can focus on something beautiful. And so that kept on going on. And I could go into so many different stories, but it kept on going on till, like till fifth grade. And then unfortunately in fifth grade, one of the hardest things that could ever happen to a child happened to me. And it completely flipped everything that had gone on. And at that time, like the trauma that was going on, like I said, it just got immensely worse. And I remember one time in my bed, just laying there and just crying and just asking God to take me. I did not want to be on earth anymore. I wanted to go to heaven. I just did not want to be there present. And that one time I was praying so hard, crying, praying to God, I felt like it's like a big shift of energy, just like jumping, like my whole body jumped from my bed. How, as crazy and scary as that felt for that 1 second, like I felt like a huge relief came through me, and I managed to push on through the worst part of my young adult teenage years. And then after that experience, I didn't see any more, you know what I mean? Anything else. It just kind of stopped. And I kind of felt at that point in my life, I felt like, oh, because this bad thing happened to me, I'm no longer worthy of seeing the stuff that made me, that brought me happiness. So I'm going to fast forward. I got married with my
isn't right. Like, because let's pause there for anybody listening, or kids listening, or youngins listening. Like, now that couldn't be farthest from the truth.
Right. I know now. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
We're worthy just because we're souls, which I know we know now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And at that point, though, when you're so young, you don't know any better.
No.
Right?
Oh, of course.
And you let the worst thoughts come through your mind. And when you have nobody to turn to, it makes it even worse. And I've always like I said, but even though with that happening, I stopped kind of feeling even that presence with me, if that makes any sense. And once I got to older, I got married, came back home to Missouri. And I'm going to say that this is the moment that stuff started shifting again. So I was driving to work in the morning, and we live in the farm here in Missouri. And we have barn cats, and one of the barn cats had kittens. And as I was driving, I seen a kitten roll back, and it broke my heart. So I stopped the car, and it was a Prius. So I pushed the button to park, and I get out. Well, I guess in the moment, I didn't push it hard enough, and the car started rolling back. And so at that moment, you're like, I couldn't jump in the car. I couldn't get out of the way. I was literally being dragged by the door. And so I fell in the ditch with the car, and it went right over me. I remember it going, and I thought in the moment, I'm like, this is happening. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you get that, gosh, this is really happening. And at that moment, I don't know what happened, but then I turned and my car was wrecked in the woods. Right. So like, I feel like I kind of lost conscience, but I don't remember like falling, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't know, lapse of time that I don't remember. So anyways, I get the courage, I get up and I go to the car, call my husband, he comes back. And by this point, I'm starting to get pain in my back. I'm really starting to feel it. So I go to the hospital. Julie, there was absolutely nothing wrong with me other than a few bruises and a few cuts. And I didn't even have anything, but the car rolled over me. Like I seen the roll over me. And it's like, and I'm like, at that moment, it just clicked. I'm not alone anymore. You know what I mean? Like I'm being taken care of. And so,
Well, wait, I gotta stop you. So I'm so glad you're okay. And the cat's
yeah,
okay too, the kitten.
unfortunately not.
Oh,
I know. And this was many years ago, and I never forget this little, and I always think of him. So
no.
I
Yes.
know, it's such a sad story, but it's one of those things when you live in the country, you have
Yeah.
farm cats, and
Mm.
such a sad story. But no, I know. And I'm a cat person, so it was very hard, and that's why I stopped in the middle because I panicked when I seen it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, poor baby.
I
But
know.
I'm so glad that you're okay. And I can't believe like it went over you and just did not even nothing.
Then,
Scratches,
no, I mean, the
bruises, and
scratch.
that's is it.
Yes. So, at that moment, I realized, I am not alone. I still have my spirit, my angels. Like I'm still being taken care of. There's a purpose for me. Besides being a mom, besides being a wife, there's some more to my life. I just felt it.
Friend, if the idea of connecting to your angels and changing your life using your very own spiritual gifts sounds amazing and is deeply resonating with you today, I want you to go on my website and check out my angel membership. Registration is open. Sign up today and you'll get access to new course content and events each week and a private community. Members love how everything you need for your spiritual awakening is all in one place. Sign up today. Angel membership. It's incredibly healing. Also, the winner of this month's free reading with me is in the show notes below. Leave a 5-star positive review of my podcast or book, and you could be next month's winner. Lastly, check out the upcoming events page on my website, theangelmedium.com, because we have a lot of upcoming events that I know you're going to be interested in.
So fast forward some few years, I finally talked to my mom about what had happened to me as a child. And unfortunately, her response was a complete opposite of a mother should ever do. So she basically, I don't know if she didn't believe me or she didn't, I don't know. I can't remember her. However, at that moment, when you lose that connection and you kind of cut that toxic tie, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's you begin to mourn, you mourn even a person who's alive because you know that situation is not going to work out anymore.
You're 100% correct. Yes.
And so that really threw me into my full awakening after that grievement of like losing a parent, but they're not really gone because they're still here. I don't know if that makes any sense.
100%.
And that grievement threw me into this, I don't even know, like it just felt like I suddenly just got drawn back to figuring what's going on and everything. And I pulled up, I don't even know how I came across your podcast. I'm not going to lie. Like I just came up on it and I started listening to and I think I binged all of your podcasts, like in a week. I had heard them all. And so I started thinking about the Angel Reiki school, but I thought, and if anybody's hearing, I thought that I needed to heal myself first before I attempted to do anything else. However, I have found that taking the Reiki school, I have learned to heal myself. And with the continued education, I'm continuing the healing, obviously, but it has made huge shifts because I did go to counseling. I did do all this, but this kind of just was like the cherry on top. You know what I mean? That I needed to do. So something that I have now, the angels have really put in my path is I can, when I do perform Reiki, thanks to you, I can sense where emotion might be stuck that resembles the emotions that I had. And so I can imagine that emotion being wrapped up and going back to source. And I feel like angels are putting people with that same in my path because I feel like, out of, 4 people that I talk to, more like 3 of them have something similar of a trauma, where I feel like that's what my purpose is really to help heal.
Well, let's talk about this a little bit, because you and I know, because I taught you and I trained you well, that that we don't project. And I think a lot of people
Right.
listening to the podcast could be like, well, Janette's projecting this energy onto other. No, I have taught her not to project her energy onto another. What this is a perfect example of is, you know how I talk about the souls behind your shoulder? Like when I can look at a person, you see the souls that they're here to help as orbs.
Mm-hmm.
You and I get toxic positivity, right? Like some people
Mm-hmm.
talk about toxic positivity. There are definite boundaries we have to set with people in this lifetime. There are definite traumas that we can go through in this lifetime, and you did not cause that. What you went through did happen to you. You didn't manifest it. You didn't create it. You were just a child. And I know that some people could look at me and say, Julie, you're wrong for telling Janette that she went through what she went through in order to help other people. But I look at it like this. You didn't cause what happened. You didn't
Mm-hmm.
ask it to happen. You didn't create it or manifest it. It was the cards that you were dealt. Now,
Right.
from the cards that you are dealt, you have free will. What are you going to do with those cards? And of that, you have chosen of your free will to help other people. And because you made that choice, now here Spirit opens up this energetic doorway in front of you and says, okay, now who else can connect with Janette's energy? Who else can we help? So some people could look at this and say, you went through this in order to help these people. No, you were dealt cards. You went through something. And because you made the free will choice to become a healer and help other people, now there are souls placed within your path that you are able to help as a result.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And I definitely resonate with that. And I try to explain that to, anybody that has had similar situation. It was not something you chose. It was not something you picked, but you do have the free will choice of working from here and healing yourself. And I will say that, my spiritual journey is only in the beginning part of it. There's so much more that I need to learn, and I'm still working on connecting with my angels, and I still have questions for them that I'm still trying to figure. But one of the big one was, like, I'm like, was I really crazy, or was I really imagining like all these beautiful, halos and the giants, and what they resonated with me. And maybe you can clarify if I'm hearing it right, but that no, in fact, they were putting that in my path so that I can stay in the vibration of joy and happiness. And they're just because not everybody can see doesn't mean that they weren't there. So I don't know if I'll ever get my I'm not saying power, but my ability to see halos again. I wish I could, but you know what? I never know. But I'm working really hard on trying to reconnect with that part that, is still there somewhere.
Not only that, but 100% you're going to reconnect with it. Take it one baby step at a time. Have you ever heard me say, like, I know I'm going to do work with hypnotherapy one day.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not in my capacity, in my wheelhouse right now. They lead you and they just take you through the steps they need to walk you through. And what happens, and what they're telling me to tell you right now, Janette, is like some days I will be preparing for a podcast interview or doing something or preparing to write a piece that's going to be put out, and I can't get it. Like, I can't get the words to come through in that moment. And they'll say, take a break. Like, you need to step away. So I go step away, and I either get a phone call or I watch something or I read something or something happens. And it was the piece I was missing, where now it all makes sense, the writing or the podcast or how it was supposed to come together. And the same happens big picture wise too. Like, as your career is growing, maybe they need you to not have that piece in this moment right now so that you can focus on the trauma piece. Maybe it comes in after that, right? So it's okay if it comes in one step at a time, but you're so on the right path. And I'm just so excited for where you're going.
Thank you.
Yeah. Was there another angel story? I forget.
No, that was it. I just kind of rolled them all together. As you know, I could probably give you a lot more if you wanted, because I do have a lot of stories, but yeah.
Well, Spirit's saying to ask you, like, what was your biggest validation that you've gotten so far in a session where you're like, okay, I don't know this person that I'm working on, and I can't even believe that this came through?
Honestly, it was when connecting and speaking with Spirit on, when it's someone that I don't know anything about, and I am, writing messages and just saying, hey, how does this resonate with you? And I have actually had 3 different individuals who I perfectly described or kind of got into their spirit guides and how they were and how they looked, or where they meditate. And so that was really cool. And that to me was like a reassuring that I'm on the right path and I'm learning the right messages, because there was no way for me to know who their spirits guides are, or the location that they go to in their mind to meditate. And it was that those to me were like, whoa, like I don't even know them, but here's what it's coming across. So that was really, really like the validations that I needed, that I'm getting there.
Yeah. What would you say to anybody who's thinking about the Angel Reiki school?
To not think about it anymore, to go ahead and do it.
Yay.
It is very worth it. And I will say that, like I try to work on at least 2 people on a weekly basis. And I, for some reason, am able to connect with a stranger over, you know what I mean? Yeah. Not in person, more than when they're in person with me. And I don't know if I get in my own mind, or it's really that connection, because I don't have any strings attached to them emotionally. And so I don't know, but I will say that if you're afraid that you don't want to bring people into your space, or if you don't know how it would work being not in person, that was one of my biggest concerns, was like, okay, how am I going to learn this on a computer and not go actually to an in-person classroom? That was my biggest like reservation. But I'm glad I did it, because it has really shifted my belief system, and I could learn and I can connect, because energy is you know what I mean? It's everywhere. Yeah. So
it was really fascinating, because I think a lot of people felt that way at the very beginning of COVID when I moved everything online. But a lot of people say that they love it even better, because they can just have like a complete remote business. It works into their schedule really easy. And I'm not making it up when I say I didn't like write the program, like it channeled through me, through the angels, and what they wanted to say and how they wanted to structure it. So I'm really excited for you too, Janette, because I know you're a teacher and you're going to do a lot of that in the future too. So sky's the limit for you.
Thank you.
Yes, of course. And you have to, they've said this 3 times. I want you to send me an email after you go through the Healing Your Inner Child course in the Angel membership, because I want to know your feedback on it, but I think that you're going to get a lot out of that one in particular.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. On that one. Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day, just like on a whim, to be with us here. Normally I do this, but my voice is a little shot today. So I'm going to have you do this. I want us to end and just like me, everybody listening, you get us into just a very quick oneness by like having God energy come through our crown into our heart, and then radiate energy out. So talk us through like a visual of us let's pray for kids who are going through a lot of trauma themselves today, or adults healing from it.
Okay.
And you can kind of walk us through that.
Absolutely. All right. If you can, go ahead and close your eyes and take a deep, deep breath. And I want you to imagine a beautiful energy coming from the soles of your feet and going up to your body and connecting you to your energy, to source, to God, that beautiful vibration, that beautiful light. Now imagine and feel the sensation of this beautiful light around you. Now look at the beautiful colors, the shimmers of gray and gold and white. Now as we are connecting to oneness, I want to take a deep breath, and we want to send positive energy prayers to all the kids who are alone, who feel alone, that have been traumatized from many different kinds of abandonment, sexual trauma, physical, mental abuse. And then we want to send positive energy and love and happiness and all the higher vibration emotions to their higher selves as they're adults, and also to the adults that have suffered this or who are currently suffering this. We ask for the beautiful energy of God to surround their hearts, surround them, and to make them heal. And so it is done.
I love that. And friends, the reason that we're doing this more and more on the podcast is this. Scientific studies have shown, they've demonstrated between a healer in one location, states away from another person in another location, that when a healer prays for somebody, and not just a healer, any person, when you pray for someone who needs that healing, needs to receive that loving energy, and that person doesn't even know what time they're going to get prayed for, shifts happen within their energetic field. And scientists have been able to keep them wired, as they go through their day, and say, this person prayed for them at that time, and at that exact moment, their energy spiked. They had this receiving of the energy that was sent their way. So here on the show, when we take this time out at the end, it's not woo-woo. It's not for no purpose. It's because what you're doing is actually sending love out into the world to those who need it, knowing that scientifically they are going to receive that energy. And as we continue to do this, and healers around the world do their work, and you do their part, souls are their authentic self, we're really going to shift and lift the vibration of the planet here. And I'm not going to say it because it's actually my home address, but I looked at the clock. They said, look at the clock, and it's my exact number. So I'm so excited that you're here. Anybody listening who has angel stories, go over to the website, theangelmedium.com, go to the angel story tab, and we would love to share your stories here on the show. Thank you, Janette.
Thank you. You guys have a wonderful day.
You too.
Bye.
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 Bye. Beautiful soul, thank you so much for joining me today. My name's Julie. You know I'm all about connecting you with messages from your angels and loved ones on the other side. If you've been listening today and you're super excited and just have to know which angels are sitting around you now, who's connecting with you, and how they're supporting you, go to theangelmedium.com. Register for a virtual session. You can do a reading with me or a member on my team. We're all incredible. We all talk to angels daily, and we can help you in making sure that your angels are doing the best they can to support you and guiding you to the life you want to live. Virtual sessions, they're only offered on my website, never offered on social media, only offered on theangelmedium.com. Sign up today. And if you're the person who's really excited, you're ready to go all in developing your unique spiritual gifts, growing your intuition, starting your own healing business, you can sign up for my Angel Reiki School to become a certified angel messenger. That's for the healers among us who feel called to grow their intuition to the max and serve humanity with their gifts. You'll learn energy healing, mediumship, how to deliver angel messages, and business mastery skills. That's the Angel Reiki School. You can find more information on theangelmedium.com or DM me over on Instagram at Angel Podcast with any questions you have. Friends, before you go, connect with your angels by placing your hand on your heart, taking a deep breath. Imagine a doorway filled with God's unconditional love in front of you. I want you to step into that love in front of you. And I want you to feel it as it fills your body, your chakras, and your auric field. Now ask your angels, what would you have me know today? And open yourself to the positive, loving messages they have just for you.